Okay.
So what I want you to do is go to your inbox. I just sent you some stuff. So we can start with invoice 18.
Invoice 18.
Yeah. So there's kind of a couple things you need to do. Hold on one second. Sorry. Come in. Oh, Kathy. All right. So for the most part, the invoices that are coming from consultants, you'll start to get familiar with the names for the consultants. But basically there's the kind of like 3 steps you need to do for check requests that you make sure you cover. The first one is obviously like if you get a check request from me, you need or invoices or check requests or whatever. The first thing is you need to obviously do the request.
Yeah.
But the second important part is making sure you save all the invoices in the appropriate folders. So in that folder that I shared with you, it's called invoices and check requests. If you go to your OneDrive, it'll be in your shared folders. Open up another tab. You can always, yeah, if you open up.
So I want to hold on. Right here, but it doesn't let me do that.
Exit out, go back to your mail, where your mail is open, and then go to where you can open OneDrive, like the, the top right, top left corner. Yeah, next to OneDrive, yeah, it'll open up into another tab. And then if you go to the side where the 3 lines are, shared. And then click that 3 lines again so you can see everything.
Where is it? Okay, sorry.
And then you should be able to see all the things I've found.
Okay.
So let me go ahead and make it. I thought I shared the folder with you, but obviously not. Let me share this with you, and then you can.
Could have sworn you shared it, or I think you like showed me the folder.
Okay.
And sheets, that's for. I'm just logging on to BSNY really quickly.
There haven't really been a lot of Isaac's people that go on it. It's usually like 1 or 2, but it's still good to capture it.
Let me see. Just gonna refresh it to see if it comes up. Okay, I see it now.
So if you click that folder, a good folder for you to remember is the accounting docs and notes. So that's where you'll find like the list of all the codes, any blank forms you need. If there's anything that you need that you can't find, check that folder first and then let me know. And then as you can see, there's a folder for all our different consultants. So if you open up the Allison Goldsmith folder, you'll want to make sure that the format that you're saving it, if you scroll down. So I know that Bonnie was saving it in a certain way. I prefer the number of the invoice to go first.
Okay, let me just make note of that. So the number of the invoice first.
Yeah.
Then how else do you like it?
And then you could put like the name of the invoice. Because it's easier, like if I'm like, hey, can you pull up the invoice for like invoice number, whatever, it's easier for you to find it. Because then you just look for the number of the invoice instead of having to like scroll through and stretch out to find the date or whatever.
So I remember you mentioning something about how sometimes we can't find an invoice if we don't know the date. Or is
that's an Intacct. I mean more like if you need the physical file.
Okay, got it.
So you want to make sure that the invoice is getting saved into the folder at some point. It doesn't have to be before, it doesn't have, it could be after, it's whatever order you see fit. But you'll want to just make sure that like you kind of have a checklist of things that you do when you're preparing the check request to make sure that you're like doing everything you need to make sure it gets processed properly.
So it's invoice number, name, and then date?
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
So you don't have to save it right this second. The name of the file doesn't matter when you upload it into Intacct, because what matters is how you file it. So let's go ahead and try to file this. So if you want to go and go back to your mail and open up the invoice so you can see it while you're processing it.
Okay, so invoice 18.
So what you're gonna do first to start a check request. So scroll up. The thing you need to know on these invoices are the date and the total payment.
So these are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
You don't need to worry when you get an invoice and it has multiple transactions. You don't have to do the separate lines. It's already all on one.
Okay.
It's just documenting what classes she taught that are on this invoice. So when people invoice, we need a description of the services. So that's a description of the services, but all we need to do on our end is so what you can do is click add.
Okay.
So for any of the, so the date is always gonna be the date that the invoice either was dated or received. So this invoice was received on the 24th, so the day will be the 24th. But let's say I send you an invoice that was from 2 months ago, you're gonna put the invoice date at the top that has the date 2 months ago. So for example, I can show you, I know you're not looking at my screen right this second, but just so you can see, yeah. Yeah, why, what's up? I mean, tell her I'm not available right now. If she wants to wait, I'm in a meeting for an hour, so. Sorry, I try to see if there's a date on this. Oh, here we go. Okay, so if you look at this paper, the date that this was received was 5/6, or the date for it is 5/6.
Okay.
So like if I emailed you this document, you'd have to look for the date that either the invoice or the contract was sent. It may not be the date that you're receiving it.
Okay.
That could just be because I sent you stuff late, or it's an invoice that someone didn't do for a while, or they forgot, like we're missing an invoice or something.
Mommy, I want to see.
Okay.
Mommy, I want to see.
So the vendor is always going to be the name of the person that you're paying. So if you're on the credit card requests, it's always going to be Amex, but for all the invoices, it's going to be the name of the person who sent you the invoice. So this vendor is Allison Goldsmith. So what you can do is just type in the name in the vendor box. Yeah. And it'll autofill everything. So the grant activity for exercise classes is always, all our codes that we typically use is senior center. So it's going to be SR dot, and then it'll auto populate all the different senior center grant activity codes. So for all the exercise classes, it's always education and recreation. So you can go ahead and click that and it'll autofill that there. And in the, remember how on the bottom it shows that there's also a grant activity? If you scroll all the way over to the right. Keep going to the right. Down. So it'll automatically do the grant activity once you start typing stuff in. Okay, so scroll back up. So the next, so it autofills when the term is. So if I start doing I'm gonna have to start doing new consultant agreements, which you'll see soon because I'll need your help with it. But basically when people come on as instructors, they have to sign an agreement that states that they agreed to the terms of the class, like teaching the class, having a schedule. They agree that they're okay with whatever the payment is at whatever rate it is, etc. So that's how this net term is determined. If you're putting in the correct person, all that information will already be auto-populated. So the next thing you have to add is a vendor document number. So the vendor document number is always going to be the invoice number, and this one is 18. So you can see on the top, it says invoice number 18. You just need to put in the number. Anytime you get an invoice, you just put in the number. You don't need to put invoice anything. It's just 18 or just whatever the number of the invoice is. So you can do this at the end or you can do this now. I think just in the matter of going down chronologically, the next best thing would be to upload the invoice. So I would download the invoice.
Just give me a moment because my daughter needs to use the bathroom. Just give me a second. I'll be right back. She's using.
Okay, so the first thing you'll do is download the invoice. And then you literally can just drag it in over the attachments. That's it.
Okay.
So now you'll scroll down and you'll go through adding the actual invoice. So you basically you only need the total. So you can put the total and then you can either exit out of it or whatever. So I like to have them both windows open because it helps me see like all the information I need, but you don't have to if you don't want to. So the item ID is not the number of the invoice. The item ID is the code that like files. It's like the filing code basically. So for most exercise, basically for most of the people that are invoiced, like the consultants that are teaching classes, their code is going to be other professional fees.
And that's for other professional fees.
So like any instructors would get that. So like this is an exercise instructor. And we have a couple other like different types of people that get professional fees. But basically if you're doing an invoice that happens to do with money going to someone, it's going to be other professional fees. You need to change the location code too. That's good.
Oh, here?
Yeah, the company location.
That is this one, 701?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Everyone, so for the partners in care invoices, I'm gonna show you how to do. The company location, you'll have to make sure is correct because that's going to Taft, not to Isaac, not to see the senior center here.
Okay.
So we'll get there when we get there, but just make sure you're going through almost always the company location is gonna be Isaac's and the program auto fills.
Okay.
For the program autofills. So the quantity is almost always one. We're not getting invoices for more than one. So you're only doing one invoice per check request. It's only the credit card request that you'll have multiple entries for.
Okay.
So you can keep scrolling over to the right.
And you said only credit card.
Only credit card request transactions you're gonna have multiple like entries for. The check requests are always just one because you're only doing one invoice at a time.
Okay.
So keep scrolling over to the right. The funding source. So you're gonna type in NYC. D. Almost always the codes are going to be NYCDF T, and then you're going to scroll through to find the correct one. So this will code to senior center, but you have to look for the Isaac Senior Center. So you'll scroll down. Our codes, I believe, are 1-4 something. Oh wait, 1-2. Yeah, 1-2. Sorry, 1-2. So we're 12216. So that's why it's good to have that cheat sheet that Bonnie made. You can always just type in NYCDFTA and scroll through, but for the sake of doing a lot of check requests, it's sometimes good to know the codes. But again, as you get more familiar with doing these, you'll start to get more familiar with what the codes are. I used to know them because I was preparing check requests for a while, but now that I'm not as familiar with the specific numbers. But you'll get a good flow. Always unrestricted, and you don't need to fill anything out for employee.
Okay, cool.
Okay. The only time, oh yeah, you don't need to fill out anything for employee. And then you can go ahead and submit it.
Oh, it's good. I did everything good.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. It's not half as bad once you're doing it.
Once you do it and once you get a feel for it, it makes a lot more sense. So now you're gonna do your next check request. So make sure you save
Save
it.
it?
Yeah.
Hold on, let me just drag this.
So it's up to you. Again, it's up to you the process you want to do it. What I used to do is I would just upload the check request and then I would go back and go in and do all the filing after, especially if I have a bulk of invoices to do.
Melanie, are you okay? I'm sorry. I think my phone fell. Let me just check on her real quick. All right, so now I am saving this invoice. So
You
hold
can
on.
drag it in and then rename it.
So hold on, why did it not?
If you go back, click the the dots on the right of, no, other side. It should allow you to,
Rename.
yeah, open up the file.
Oh, I might have to just rename it in the file.
Just double click the file.
I don't know why. Let me see. Maybe because this. Open.
Go back, click the 3 dots on this page. Maybe it'll let you do it here. Oh, that's weird.
That is very weird. That's never happened before.
It
maybe 'cause
happens
it's
to me
new.
sometimes. So what I would do is go back to the Allison Goldsmith file. You can delete it and then rename it in your individual file and then drag it in again.
Okay. It's not letting me.
So go to the Allison Goldsmith file that's open already on your tabs.
Disappeared. Oh no.
Right there. So you can go ahead and delete that. And then go to your files, your download files. In your computer, you see on the bottom, there's a file icon. All the way in the bottom.
Where?
On all the way on the bottom of your screen. On the taskbar. Keep going there, yeah. Go to downloads. And yeah, you should be able to left click that, yeah.
Okay, so
So you put 8, you'll put 8, invoice 8, you can put 18. and then put Allison Goldsmith. And then 5.24.
It's
22.
getting dot 24, yeah.
Dot 22. And
Okay,
then you
and
could just drag that in. So this way now, anytime we go to look for invoices, hope like we can follow this, going forward, we can follow this format.
okay,
Okay,
so now we're gonna try the second one.
yeah, so this is something that will, once we get to it, we'll get to it, but just so you're aware, starting next fiscal year, which starts July 1st, I'm gonna wanna start us on to like a better system of like filing. So the first thing will be like keeping track of what expenses we do. And I'll show you, I'll start spreadsheets and we'll start files in each person's profile. It's like in Allison Goldsmith's file, once July 1 hits, we'll have a folder that says FY23, and then we'll just start saving anyone that come between July 1st, 2022 and June 30th, 2023. And then the next year we'll start another file. So this way they're all in one place.
Okay,
So for this one, you can go ahead and start the request for this one. So this one's for 11,000. You can see the date is May 12th on the top, and the invoice number is right there too. You can copy and paste an Intacct for the actual filing. It's just like for the when they send you stuff for login credentials, you can't copy and paste.
this one is just one invoice, and it is for the Stanley Isaacs, correct? Like
It's for
I'm
Precision Painting. So the name of the company will always be at the top of the invoice for the most part.
oh, I'm talking about the program, like let me show you.
The program, I'll show you. I'll tell you.
Okay, cool.
So the program is always gonna be Stanley Isaacs, like the senior center, Isaac Center 415. So the date for this is the 12th.
The vendor is Precision.
You have to go back and change the date one more time.
Okay.
You can
Oh, it
click the
just
calendar.
Oh, it has to be on the calendar?
No, it doesn't, but if you wanted to, if you click the date on the calendar, it'll autofill it for you.
And then for this one, it is, hold on.
So it's gonna be senior center admin. So I believe 141600.
Okay, so hold on, I'm just still taking notes,
No
and
worries.
I'm looking at my notes and just trying to do it because it's not as bad as I thought it would be.
So as you get more familiar with the codes and who you're doing invoices for, you'll know how to code things. But in the meantime, I'll try to do my best to tell you how to code things. So I'll try to do it in order. What I'll do is I'll put like senior center ed rec, item, I'll put the item, I'll put like other professional fees, and then like go down the list of like what it's coded to. So this, I'm not entirely sure the code, so you'll have to look up like maintenance. Literally the way that I look for codes is I'll just type in words and see what comes up. Try facilities. All right, hold on. Let me open up my folder and see if I can find the correct code for this. Detect codes. So this is where that spreadsheet comes in handy.
Let me just go open another tab. Let me just see. Oh, wait, I have it here.
So this code isn't going to be on Bonnie's sheet because we don't do a lot of coding to this. So what I'll actually walk you through how to look for it. So go back to the Allison Goldsmith folder, the tab open. You'll go back to invoice and check requests, the folder. You can just click it right up there. Yeah. And then you go to accounting docs notes. Now you're gonna open up the Intacct codes for the Isaac Center. And go to the tab. Yeah, you're already on the tab that says item ID. Scroll all the way back to the left, and you'll just scroll through until we find one that we think fits best. I try to type, I do Control F and try to do like, I'll type in stuff that sounds like it could be, like I'll type in like maintenance and see what comes up for maintenance and see if there's any codes that get it.
Wait, hold on. Repairs and maintenance expense.
So I'm gonna see if there's anything that's more specific. But I think that that might be,
Because it's equipment and furniture repair. That's the
so
decision.
the item, so that's the category. So you have to make sure you look at the title tab,
Okay.
column B, because that's the one that you'll need to know.
There
So,
was something about renovation expense.
but it's not like a renovation. So
Oh,
I'm gonna have you do miscellaneous maintenance, which is 68002.
Wait, hold on. I want to find. Okay, you said 68002.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now you need to change the company location, the
Right.
program. That's correct.
Okay, so hold on.
That's not the right, that's not the program.
Oh, okay.
So this one is 11,000. So, and then the funding source will be senior center. So you'll have to look, this is the one that's NYC DIFTA Senior Center. For this one, I believe it's yeah, that one.
And the grant, and then unrestricted.
Yep. And then go scroll up. Did you already put the item ID? I mean, the vendor document number?
Yeah.
And I would, let me double check this invoice.
Please make it payable to 18. Okay. Yeah. There's no memo or anything, so. Okay. I'm allowed to submit?
Yeah.
Okay, this is actually, it's not that as tedious as I thought you were explaining it.
So it isn't, but
The
it'll
credit card probably, credit
yeah.
card transactions.
The
They
credit
add up.
card one is the one that's kind of tedious. So the thing with the credit card transactions is you need to make sure you remind me to scan all the receipts and what order and the order, making sure that the order is correct.
Okay, so for that one, the orders have to be in like not alphabetical order, but like chronologically.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we can do the training together once we actually get to doing it. But in the meantime, that's why I was saying it's good for you to open up the credit card requests and start adding on to that summary form so that come the day of the credit, like when we have to submit it, you'll have all the information already. And you can just go ahead and upload it and enter all the lines. I have to send you, I'll send you a couple to do, a couple credit card requests to do, and I'll send you the coding and everything. I'll probably do that a little later today and I'll send that to you. So I don't know if, yeah, so you'll save that.
I just need to see it again because I don't really remember. It was like 142 something. Ah, where did it go? Okay. Okay.
Perfect. So the next one I'm gonna send you, this is the one that like, this is the reason why I said if you need a printer, you like, we can work something out to get you a printer.
Yeah.
Because they're all put together, but they all have to be filed separately.
Yeah. No, I get it because I keep going back and forth to like rename, and then instead of just printing it out and being able to just look at
So
it.
individual check requests is not hard to do going back and forth,
Yeah.
but I will. Let me see if I should-
It's mainly the credit card transaction is what I'm getting.
The credit, not even the credit card transaction, you're gonna be putting it all on one. That's why it's good to be prepared for when you're gonna upload it, because I'll show you that in a second. Let's just finish. Let me focus on this first so you can get an understanding of what I'm trying to.
Okay, I'm just
show
gonna
you.
I'm just gonna check on Melanie, but I'm just gonna mute myself. You can continue recording, it's fine. All right, sorry about that.
It's okay. So this is the one, these are the ones that are tedious. So it may be helpful. I'm sending you, so the first email I sent you is the attachments.
Okay,
They're the attachments of the invoices. You see the partners invoices? That's the invoices.
okay,
So as you can see, we have the HC and RN. So if you go into the invoice folder, the invoice and check request folder, you should be able to see partners in care. Scroll down. Partners in care, health coach, and partners in care nurse. So if you go into the folder for Taft,
hold on, I'm just, for Taft, right?
yeah,
Am I missing something?
scroll up, go to the folders.
Okay,
You're gonna want to start a folder that's called Taft Health Coach, and then start a folder that's Taft.
wait, you said, let me just do it,
You
hold
can
on.
just do it right now. Just do
Yeah.
it right now because you're not gonna have to do this again.
Taft Health,
Coach.
just like that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. In there, or
Yeah, and then you're gonna start another one that's called Taft Nurse.
That's the RN, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm gonna do something that is slightly tedious for you, but in all actuality will actually make this a slight bit easier for you.
Okay.
So what I'm gonna do, I'm not gonna do it right now. Because I gotta go get ready for grab and go, but I'm gonna print out all the invoices and send them to you one by one. So
And
this
these
way,
are old invoices or in check requests that I have to do?
okay, so now this is the second part of it. Go back to your inbox.
All right.
If you look at the second email I sent you, scroll down to the message from Galena. Yeah, keep going. Keep going. These are all the check requests that need to be done. Anything that was done for 2021 before June 30th. So starting from 23, line 23, going all back to number 1, those have to be coded as unfunded. So you know how one of the things in the transactions is funding source?
Yeah, so wait, question. For any outstanding invoice, it will be coded as unfunded.
No.
Okay, all right. Just for this instant.
Yeah, because in this instance, we have a bunch of stuff that needs to be coded and backdated to before this fiscal year. So we're technically within the fiscal year 2022. So that means that any invoices that were sent to us dated from July 1st all the way until June 30th of this, like next month, those are in fiscal year 2022. But anything before that was fiscal year whatever before that. So
Okay.
for this, because these are out of this year's fiscal year, they have to go in as unfunded. Now, this specific list is for Taft. So when you go in to go do the transaction, this is gonna, so these are all coded under, I'm gonna give you the codes right now, okay?
Okay.
So this is going to, the grant activity is senior center. So it's the one that's sr.center, and it's going to be case assistance or case management, whatever the actual thing is.
Or management, okay.
Then it's getting coded to partners in care. These are all getting coded to the same person. So it'll auto-fill all that information for you, but you need to select the invoice date. Now, as you can see, the invoice dates are all listed here, where you see how all the invoice, like when you if you open up one of those files, you'll see the date.
Like here?
Yeah.
Let me see.
See at the top, it says invoice date. That's the date you're gonna put in the date.
Okay. And then I put this total, or do I go by this? Sorry.
No, you're gonna put the total that's on the invoice.
Okay, so I'm only doing the invoices right here.
Yeah, but if you open it, you have to scroll. There's more than just one invoice. That's why I'm saying I'm gonna.
Okay, I got it.
That's why I said I'm gonna go through and scan each one to you so that it's easier for you to just go through one by one.
Now, question, when I save this into the file, do I just put all the dates on it, or how do I save this?
So if you go, I prefer to do it by date. So specifically for the partners in care invoices, because we get so many of them.
So I put all the dates when I rename the file here?
Yeah, so what I like to do specifically for the partners in care one, because we get so many of them and they're not like a name associated. So like, for example, Amazing Destinations, I get a bunch of invoices for them, but I usually save the name under by the name of the trip. So it'll be like the invoice number, and then it'll be like Villa Roma Amazing Destinations. And I know what invoice that's for, because it was for the Villa Roma trip. But for these, I only have the invoice number. So it's easier for me if they say, hey, did you get the invoice for this date, to have the date somewhere so that when I go into the file, I can search for it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So if they're like, hey, did you get the invoice for XYZ date? I can look for it. Or did you get the invoice for the month, invoices for the month of? I can go back and search for it. So what I like to do is put the date first. I'll put like, if you just pause for a second, I'll do like 7.14.21, Partners in Care invoice. I did PIC health coach, or like PIC HC invoice number. And then put in the invoice number.
Now, my question is, just for this instance, with this specific document, it has like a bunch of invoices in it. So how do I rename this one? So
That's what I'm saying. I'm later, probably around 12:30, I'm gonna go through and print this and then individually
okay, got
scan
it. I thought you were gonna send me other documents. Okay, I understand now.
So
Okay,
the
perfect.
other thing to know, and I'm gonna try to do this in order, but it depends on how it comes into your inbox. Here's the codes you need to know. For anyone with the date before June 30th, 2021, those are coded, the funding source is unfunded.
Okay.
But anything dated 7/1/2021 until now,
That's June 30th, 2021.
yes. Anything
Is-
dated before that is unfunded.
Okay.
So there's like a couple, there's literally invoices that date all the way back to, I think, like February of last year.
Okay.
Those all are coded unfunded, but anything dated 7/1/2021 or later, like closer to this date, the funding source will be Taft Johnson. You'll have to go, so let's actually open up.
So the yellow that was here, that would be coded as Taft Johnson,
Yeah, funding source.
right over here.
Yeah, so the funding source for that program is, let's see. So the funding source for that one is 12520, because that's specifically to Johnson Taft.
12520.
Yeah.
And this is specifically for Partners in Care.
Yeah. So you know what? Let me just give you the line. So when you see the item ID, you'll so when you start putting in the item, this is what it should look like. So the first one will be, do you get what I'm saying? Like you'll want to write this down so you have all the categories.
Okay, I'm ready.
So this is the ones that are unfunded. It'll be 60008.
60008.
Yeah. And then 702.
Okay.
Hold on, sorry, just trying.
702 is one of the senior centers, right? That's Taft.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then it'll be 7800.
What is that?
That's the East Harlem North.
Okay.
So that's a program. And then the funding is going to be 14100.
14100. That's the funding.
That's the unfunded code.
That's the what?
Unfunded.
Okay. And a question, 6008 is what code?
That's the item ID.
Item ID. All right.
And the grant activity, which you're putting at the top already, is going to be 141400.
141400.
Yeah.
Okay. And this is specifically for all of those that I see that's before June 30th, 2021.
Exactly.
Okay, got it.
Anything after June 1st, 2021
June-
is,
Anything after June 1st or June 30th?
sorry, July 1st.
Okay, got it.
Anything after July 1st, 2021 is code, everything is the same except the funding.
Mommy,
Which is the funding would be Taft.
mommy,
It's gonna be the Isaac Snork
I'm glad.
Johnson Taft. So it's 12520.
12520.
Yeah.
And what's the name of that?
That is the Isaac, sorry, one second. That's New York State, so NYSSOFA, Isaac Snork.
FA.
And then in parentheses, Johnson Taft, because our center also has its own like SOFA code.
I'm sorry about that. So it's NYSSOFA Isaac Snork.
Yeah, in parentheses, Johnson Taft, because you need to make sure you're not doing it to the Isaac's nice SOFA Nork.
Got it. And that's specifically partners in care.
Mommy,
Yeah.
what-
Okay, anything else for anything after July 1st? It would be unrestricted too. And for
It's always unrestricted,
okay,
no matter which one you're doing.
okay. No problem. Unless indicated restricted or okay.
I'm
Do I-
gonna send you all the Taft ones first. And then when you're done doing all the Taft ones, then email me and then I'll send you all the Isaac's ones.
Okay.
So it's gonna take you a while, but it doesn't take that long. You just have to make sure you're taking your time to make sure you're coding it to the right place. We can always go back and change it, but it's best you get it on the first go around, because if you're sending me a mass amount of check requests, I don't always check them, and then we go back and forth with the counting.
Okay, all right.
Something also to note is it's helpful if you can reply. So like you completed invoice 18 and you completed the precision painting. Just reply to me when you finish any invoices, so I know to go in and check to approve them.
Let me just, and do I put the invoice number when I?
No, you don't, you literally can just reply like submitted.
Submitted?
You literally can just reply submitted. As long as it's
Okay.
finished, you can just reply submitted. But don't reply submitted until you know that you've done the invoice, you've submitted it, and then you've saved the file. So this way it holds both of us accountable to go in. So when someone's like, oh, like, how come I haven't gotten whatever, you can say, oh, well, I did submit it. You know what I mean?
Just to keep track.
Yeah, and it also helps us keep track of which ones you've done. So I will, after probably like 11:30, 12 o'clock, I'll be able to go through and scan each individual check request.
Okay, so for now, I want to start, it's okay to start, right? Doing the unfunded ones.
I would, just for the sake of making sure you're saving things correctly, I would just wait. Do you have any units to do?
I do have units to do, so I could do units.
On
It's not-
units, and